let's take the time to explore the accessories that come with the Bernette b64 airlock serger. Now we're also going to do the accessories for the Bernette 68 and the Bernette 62 cover stitch machine. Hi, I'm Sarah from sewingmastery.com, and we're doing all the free video tutorials on this series of Bernette sergers. The Bernette 62 is the cover stitch only machine. The Bernette 64 is the 4-thread overlock machine, and the Bernette 68 is the cover stitch and serger combination machines. And all three of these models have the airlock threading system. So super easy, push of a button and the threading is done for you. Most of the accessories are going to be identical for all three models, with a few exceptions for the combo machine and the cover stitch only machine. There are links in the description below to get you to the serger manual for the model that you own, and also optional accessories that are available for these sergers. Before we get started, I wanted to also just bring to your attention that Bernina has the Big Book of Serging, a guide to Bernina overlock machines. This is a great resource and available at your local Bernina store for ways and other uses for all these fabulous stitches, no matter which Bernina or Bernette serger you own. And recently, they have expanded this book collection for the Big Book of Serger Quilting. So if you didn't know that quilting on a serger is possible, I highly recommend checking out this book as well. There will also be links in the description below to some of my favorite CRAFTSY serger classes, including ones to master uses for the cover stitch and chain stitch Bernette 62 model. Now before we get going, it's customary for tutorial videos like this one to click like as a thank you for the free information. So stop right now, click the like button, and if you're not already subscribed to all of our wonderful video tutorials, we ask that you do that as well. When it comes to manuals, you will find the manuals, a cheat sheet of all the stitches and their setting, and workbooks for each of these models that you can print off and start working through today. Again, you'll find those links in the description below. Let's get started. First, you're going to find that there is a thread catcher that will often sit in front of the serger door, but you will see me probably not having this on, as I'll be in and out of this machine, opening and closing this as we work through the different techniques and adjustments that you'll be making along the way. But just know, once you get set for the stitch you're doing, put this on and it will keep everything in front of your serger much cleaner. You're probably noticing that this looks a little naked up here, and that's because I have not officially attached the thread tree or the base that it sits on. Let's start by doing that now. On the back side of your serger, you'll see a small opening and an area where you'll be positioning this in and locking it in place, also allowing you to fairly easily remove it when you're traveling, say when you're putting it in a accessory bag or taking it in for service. Now, the other day, I actually was trying to put this on backwards, so I'm going to show you the little trick. This black part right here is actually a place where I will often, when removing one of my two needles, will slide this in as a pin cushion. So to remind you, this little pin cushion area will be lined up next to the hand wheel of the serger. So that way, when you put it all together, it connects the way it's supposed to. Next, the thread tree has a small little notch here that will fit in the notch facing forward, and then you can bring that directly up when you get ready to thread the machine. I still have the original threads in the machine right now, which if this is brand new for you, you can tie on and pull threads through, but with the airlock threading system, and for me, it's just as easy to tie on as it is to thread from scratch. There's accessories in this box as well as accessories hidden right here at your fingertips. So we'll start with the accessory box first, but before we get there, there are a few other things that were kind of in your box when you opened it up. There are 4 cone holders. These will sit and will help stabilize these cones once you put them on the back side, so they don't wiggle around too much, and you'll notice that they'll be nicely stabilized. So keep those handy, and if you can't find one, they're probably stuck inside one of your spools of thread. Now we'll be talking thread quality throughout these serger videos, so make sure you take the time to invest in good quality serger thread to really make sure that your serger is running in top condition. The beloved slide-on table that was included with these sergers and overlock machines. This comes with all 3 models, and all you do is slide it on and click it in place. And to remove it, there's a button in the back. You just push down and pull straight out. So once you kind of get everything set up, you'll probably find that you'll enjoy that extra work table for most of your projects. For today, I'm going to go ahead and also leave this off to the side. If you've been a Bernette owner in the past, you probably recognize this as a presser foot lifter. So some people call this a knee lifter, but what it actually is doing is it is an extension of an area right here. The hole is kind of right below the logo. As you slide that in and push to the right, it will lift and lower the presser foot. So yes, you'll have a lifter for that foot off to the side, easily accessed with your right hand. But some days you need 3 hands or 4 hands. You're holding onto your fabric. You need to lift the foot up just a little bit to get it started. Having this already positioned will allow you to push your right knee up against the bar. It'll lift the foot, and as you release it, it will lower the foot down and you're ready to serge. Once again, I'm going to set this aside as we continue to work through this serger. Now, let's get into the accessories that came in with the box. We are going to talk a great deal about needles throughout these videos. Traditionally, the ELX705 serger needles are ideal for these models, but I will tell you a little hint. You can use regular home sewing machine needles, the same needles you use in your sewing machine, in this serger, but when it comes to cover stitch, you will definitely want to use, as it's called, the cover stitch needle. Or if you run into any time where your stitches just aren't perfect, switch back to the ELX705 serger needle, and I bet you'll get the results you're looking for. Next, you'll see some little discs. Here, you can use them to help support. You put them on top of regular sewing thread just to help them stay in position, and then your thread will come up and up to the first guide, and you can use regular sewing thread in your serger. Again, I'll explain a little bit more about which threads are ideal for picking when you're getting ready for a serger project. In a pinch, I've even been known to put some filled bobbins in some of my serger thread positions and use these to help hold them in place as well. You do have a spare knife, so for any reason that has become dull or by accident you have serged over a pin and you have put a nick in it, you can get it switched out right away as quick as possible. And yes, you can do it yourself. We also have a very fine piece of wire with a little loop. This will be for when we talk about cleaning and maintenance of your machine, things that you'll be doing on a regular basis. This will be how you can clean out the air tubes, and we'll show you exactly how to use it. Yes, there is a place to oil sergers. So once again, in our cleaning and maintenance video, we will show you where to put those little drops of oil and how often to do it. Now, these always kind of make me chuckle. Of course, they are thread nets, and I will tell you that most of the time they just sit at the bottom of my accessory box, because what they're used for is when you have threads that want to kind of fall down the cone. They're puddling down below, and they'll put a nice little resistance. You slide it over the cone that's being a little troublesome, and it'll make it so those threads don't get caught around the bottom. But if you use good quality thread, that's usually not a problem with cones that are better made. The times I've used these is anytime I might be using some more slippery thread and it's sliding down the cone. The last 2 things in the box, there is a very small piece of wire. I'll hold that up right here so you can kind of see it, with 2 eyes for threading. This will be used for when we work with decorative threads. It is a bypass for these pre-tensioners that are on the top of the machine. But for right now, let's just keep it safe in the box. This short little screwdriver is what we will use to take the screws out of the throat plate, so we can take this off and clean underneath. Now for the more commonly used accessories. And I decided to leave these for last because they are right at your fingertips. I feel that Bernette has always done this, and this helps because if I have a place to put things back, I tend to do so, and then I'm not losing them at a later time. Now, I'm going to start with my absolute favorite. So this pair of tweezers that Bernette has now selected to put in their sergers is worth the price of the serger. They are so sharp, so pointed, a little dangerous, but when you need to move a thread and help it through, it actually is an extension of your fingers times 10. But they are amazing. If you really love these tweezers, I would recommend going to your Bernette store and picking up a few extra pairs just to have at other places in your sewing room. So their little home right down here at the bottom will keep them protected and right where you always need them. There is a brush also in this nearby vicinity because there's going to be a lot of lint and things, and what you want to always do is brush out the lint and never blow into it. No extra and that's going to blow more in. And of course, we never use canned air on a serger or a sewing machine. And the last two things, one is a torque screwdriver. This is exactly what you need to remove or insert your needles. And as we go from 2 needles to 1 needle, sometimes using the left needle, sometimes using the right needle, this is your screwdriver, again, because it's so unique. It has its own home. So I love that it's always at my fingertips. And right here is a needle threader. It is not only a needle threader, which again, I'll show you how to use it. It has a little like plunger to help push the thread through the needle, but it also has a hole on the other end. So when I am taking my needle out, what I'll do is you'll see me use this, slide this up the needle, and I won't be holding it out to the side. You actually have to hold it in front, and then I'll loosen the screw, let it drop out. It'll drop right into this. So you're not trying to have your fingers in here trying to catch it. It catches it all by itself. And in the reverse, when you go to put the needle in, you can put your needle in, hold it up into the highest position, tighten that screw down, and everything is so much easier because your hands aren't trying to be underneath this area. But this area is much taller than most sergers. So I will have to say these sergers are beneficial for just having more room for your hands, even though we have tools, allow us to practically be surgeons as we put needles in and out. So give yourself grace as you start to learn how to use your needle threader, and also learn the trick of how to put it away. Put the plunger side in the machine all the way, and it will click the little end part in place. Now, just a little reminder, if your door is open and you step on your foot control, which I'm doing, the machine doesn't run. So when all your accessories are put away correctly and nothing is preventing this door from closing, when you step on the foot control, your serger will activate. The accessories for the Bernette 62 airlock cover stitch and chain stitch machine are slightly different, but very much the same. First, you notice a sewing platform because there's actually no knife in this machine. Means you're not going to find an extra knife in the accessory box. So most everything is the same in here, but there is one extra tool. This little kind of looks like a little extra finger. This is what we're going to use when we go to finish cover stitching. There's a little trick for tying things off, and it requires you to lift up the foot and kind of swipe under your fabric, getting hold of the threads. And when you cut them and then pull away, they actually lock all together. For years, I've always used like the point of my scissors, which aren't really the greatest. And when I saw this, I knew exactly what Bernette was doing. They made a tool that will make this so much easier. And it's easier to hold on to too, and lightweight. So super easy. Love that it's included with this model. But I also realized when I opened this, there was one thing else that I learned is that there is a place for a pack of needles right here. So I was noticing there wasn't extra needles in the box, and that's because the pack of needles, there's actually kind of a little storage area right there. Everything else is still the same that I showed you earlier from inside the 4-thread serger model. It will come with the slide-on table and the presser foot lifter, but because it doesn't cut off any thread, well, of course, there's no trash receptacle included with this machine. So take a look at this machine. We're going to switch it next for the Bernette 68, which is the serger and cover stitch combination model. On this model, you'll notice everything is the same inside. We do have one extra tension disc that will be so when we thread for 5 thread or When we're working with cover stitch, we'll be using the purple setting. But with this machine, the 2 additional accessories that you'll be getting is actually some table-looking items. So first up, when we convert from serger, which has this front near the knife, and we disengage the knife, we will be placing a table setting in this vicinity. So there's actually 2 sizes. There is a shorter size that when you're just using the serger without the table, that is the one you'll put on first. But if you are using the table size, look at this. This is the longer version. And then when the table slides in, you will actually have all that extra room also in front of the serger. That is absolutely brilliant. There's a couple things you might want to print off the website. First, my recommendation is the overlock and cover stitch chart, which identifies which of the thread tensions you're using, how to set up the serger to get the different stitches, everything. This is your cheat sheet. So this is for sure something you're going to want to have close by as you start mastering any one of these models. We put links below where you can print this off, you can print your manual off, and there is a serger workbook for each of these models to give you something to work through as you're learning. Now that you know what come with the Bernette 62, 64, and 68 sergers, let's get into threading these amazing machines. You'll find a complete playlist of all the serger videos we have done on this group of Bernette sergers in the description below. So if you want to start binge watching them from the beginning, scroll down and click the link to start watching.